Earthquake in Washington. The silent revolution shaking the entire NFL is happening right now in our own backyard. While our owner invests millions in transforming facilities from a grade F- to a world-class elite complex, our general manager is negotiating in secret to acquire the most explosive linebacker available. And that's not all. The 2 bomb trades we've already made have analysts terrified of our potential. This perfect confluence of factors is opening a championship window that could quickly close. The information you are about to receive cannot be found anywhere else. Subscribe now, activate notifications, and find out why 2025 will be the year Washington dominates the NFL. The revolution of the Washington Commanders isn't limited to just the playing field. Since Josh Harris took the reins of the team in 2023, he has shown to have the Midas touch. His hiring of Adam Peters as general manager and Dan Quinn as head coach has proven to be resounding successes so far. The transformation of the team on the field, going from winning 4 games in 2023 to 12 in 2024, including an NFC Championship appearance, has been one of the most astonishing in NFL history. However, there was one area that remained a work in progress: the quality of the team's headquarters in Ashburn, which received disappointing grades. In the NFL Players Association's annual report once again this year, while Washington's overall rankings stood at 11th in the league, the training room, weight room, and especially the locker room left much to be desired. Harris wasted no time in addressing these issues. During an appearance on the Pat McAfee Show, Peters greatly praised the way Harris has managed the Commanders both on and off the field. He mentioned that Harris said, "I'm not a grade F- guy," when referring to the locker room ratings upon his arrival. Peters then noted that the Commanders are currently in the process of building a new one. Do you think a better training environment directly translates into more victories? I firmly believe it does. These types of infrastructure investments are exactly what set elite organizations apart from mediocre ones. Peters also mentioned that the Commanders' practice facilities have eliminated their artificial turf practice field, which was suggested by the general manager, among other modifications. From our kitchen to our locker room, our meeting rooms, our stadium, even the locker room at the stadium, everything we've asked for, Harris has done, said Peters. This shows a genuine and authentic commitment from Harris to rebuild this proud franchise from the inside out. Although this is nothing new for anyone in Washington. The successful businessman, who also has majority stakes in the NBA's Philadelphia 76ers and the NHL's New Jersey Devils, grew up in Chevy Chase, Maryland, and has been a lifelong fan of the team he now owns. Harris, like all of us, believed DC deserved better than what the Commanders' previous ownership regime was providing. In just 2 years, he has not only built a winning product on the field, but has also achieved victories off the field by securing Washington's bid to host the NFL Draft in 2027 and reaching an agreement on a new stadium for the Iowa team that should be completed by 2030, pending City Council approval. He put his money where his mouth is, commented Peters, and indeed, he has. Now I ask you, isn't this exactly the kind of leadership we've been waiting for? Decades? I tell you this, after years of empty promises, we finally have an owner who delivers. When the Washington Commanders picked Jayden Daniels with the 2nd pick of the NFL Draft in 2024, there was no immediate expectation that the team would rise to championship contention. However, last season taught us that their timeline might be progressing much faster than anticipated. Instead of resting on that performance, the Commanders have opted to tackle the offseason with aggression. Move after move, they have built an even stronger foundation under Daniels' leadership. This began with their trade for Deebo Samuel prior to the start of free agency. Washington then focused on its offensive line, acquiring Laramie Tunsil from the Houston Texans. The Commanders continued with these trades by securing some needed returns and additions through free agency. Now, with a new class of rookies also in the mix, they are ready to compete again in the NFC in 2025. But could they need one more move to tip the scales in their favor? In a trade suggested first by Anthony Palacios of Last Word. On sports, the Commanders might acquire linebacker Key Walker from the Green Bay Packers. The good news is Bobby Wagner is returning, but they lost Dante Fowler Jr. to the Cowboys, who led the Commanders in sacks last season. Walker could be a capable replacement once Wagner eventually hangs up his cleats, noted Palacios. Wagner will return for another season, patrolling the middle of Dan Quinn's defense with emerging star Frankie Luvu by his side. Adding a player like Walker not only makes sense now, but for the future as well. Is this the missing piece we need to dominate the NFC East? I believe this addition deserves serious consideration. An athletic and versatile linebacker like Walker could be exactly what our defense needs to take the next step. The Packers have declined Walker's fifth-year rookie contract option, so they might already be looking to part ways with him instead of losing him in free agency without getting anything in return. Washington has already shown they are fully committed to seizing a championship window with Daniels over the next few seasons. But a move like this to bolster their defense would leave no doubt about their intentions. Now I ask you, is it worth making this move now, or should we wait? I tell you, in the modern NFL, speed in the defense's second level is essential, and Walker would bring precisely that. The Washington Commanders were arguably the surprise of the NFL last season, making an unlikely run to the NFC Championship behind new head coach Dan Quinn and rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels. Simply put, the Commanders are a bit ahead of schedule from where they thought they would be a year ago. To the front office's credit, Washington isn't resting on its laurels. The franchise is doing its part to capitalize on Daniels' rookie contract and add talent to the roster. A few months ago, the Commanders made a couple of splash trades, acquiring left tackle Laramie Tunsil from the Houston Texans and wide receiver Deebo Samuel from the San Francisco 49ers. In the process, Washington addressed its offensive line and added a dazzling weapon for Daniels to pair with All-Pro Terry McLaurin. The moves have put the Commanders in the spotlight, with the team poised to line up one of the league's projected top offenses. Earlier this week, Tom Blair of NFL.com ranked the traded players who will have the most impact next fall. Tunsil and Samuel both found themselves within the top 11. Tunsil was ranked number 2 overall, as he will be manning the left side of an offensive line that allowed 50 sacks last season. His presence should be an instant boost for the Commanders. Tunsil was only topped by Raiders quarterback Geno Smith. Tunsil's new offensive line is already in better shape than the unit he left in Houston, thanks to the 2024 additions of Tyler Biadasz, Nick Allegretti, and with the first pick of 2025, Josh Conerly Jr., joining the fray, wrote Blair. Tunsil was credited with only 2.5 sacks in Houston last season, Blair added. With the 5-time Pro Bowler securing his blindside, Daniels should be better able to weather the challenges that will come with year 2 and keep his development on track, which will make a significant difference in Washington this season and beyond. Could Tunsil be the most important acquisition in the franchise's recent history? I believe we are seeing the impact of having a true elite tackle protecting our franchise quarterback. This move could define our offense for years. Samuel found himself a bit lower on Blair's radar at number 7, the third best rated receiver behind Dallas's George Pickens, number 5, and Pittsburgh's DK Metcalf, number 6. I initially was going to rank Samuel higher, maybe even alongside Tunsil, influenced by the branding and some fundamental connections to how his potential for shredding defenses will combine with Jayden Daniels' playmaking ability, Blair wrote. But there are other more complicated points to consider in the equation, like Samuel's historic low of 8.7 yards per touch in 2024, and the amount of time that has passed, and the 8 games he has missed since his lone Pro Bowl season in 2021, Blair continued. So he sits here, just below players who seem poised to have a significant impact. The reasoning makes sense, as the Commanders are clearly banking on Samuel to bounce back and stay healthy. That said, there's hope that offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury can use the veteran as a multifaceted threat in Washington. Samuel is only 29 years old and was an All-Pro first team and Pro Bowl selection 4 years ago. Regardless, both Tunsil and Samuel will play considerable roles in how the Commanders' season unfolds next year. Now I ask you, which of these two players will have a greater impact on our 2025 season? I tell you both are crucial, but the Izamri protection Tunsil offers could be the game changer that takes us to the Super Bowl the Washington Commanders inexplicably chose to overlook, time and again. what many consider their greatest need during the NFL Draft 2025. That, of course, is their pass rush. Washington will head into the 2025 season with little depth on the defensive line. The team will be counting on Javon Kinlaw to deliver on his pricey contract and Darren Payne to return to his Pro Bowl form. On the edge, it will be a rotation of lesser-known free agents from the past 2 seasons in Dorrance Armstrong Jr., Jacob Martin, Clelin Ferrell, and Dietrich Wise Jr. That said, pressure in the backfield can also come from the linebacker position, something the Commanders should be well acquainted with. Last season, the team's top 2 sack leaders were Dante Fowler Jr. and Frankie Louvu. The former is now gone. But an intriguing option arose as a potential replacement following a surprising development around the league. After his release from the Carolina Panthers, 3-time Pro Bowl edge rusher Jadeveon Clowney will be looking for a new home for the 7th time in his journeyman career. After spending his first 5 seasons with the Houston Texans, the former first overall pick made additional stops with the Seattle Seahawks, Tennessee Titans, Cleveland Browns, and Baltimore Ravens before spending last year closer to home in WNT. Rock Hill. He's still only 32 years old and has been a productive player at every stop, even if the South Carolina product never lived up to his expectations as a generational prospect. He's racked up 58 sacks and 15 forced fumbles over his 11-year NFL career. He's also adept at batting passes down at the line of scrimmage with 32 career pass deflections. Clowney didn't hesitate to speak about his departure from the Panthers, and his desperate plea for someone to rescue him from the proverbial scrap heap won't go unnoticed by those in the league searching for edge help. I'm definitely going to play well. You can mark my words on that. I don't care where I end up playing. I'm going to play extremely well. I think I played well for Carolina last year, considering the circumstances that unfolded for me. I played with a bunch of guys who were injured last year, and I ended up playing extremely well for them. So it is what it is. I can play the game. I can play football. There are 31 other teams. I just hope another team gives me that opportunity to prove myself again. I feel like I can do that, Clowney said. Is this the move that could elevate our defense to the next level? I believe Clowney still has gas in the tank and could be exactly the kind of low-risk, high-reward acquisition we need. Clowney would be filling a backup role similar to what Fowler played last season in Washington. Louvu and Bobby Wagner are established as the team's starting linebackers under the scheme of Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. Given Wagner's age, it's probably not a bad idea to be cautious with his snap count. It would be a massive luxury to have a player of Clowney's pedigree ready to plug in at the second level when needed, though more as a pressure force from the edge. Clowney has also lined up as a 4-3 defensive end throughout his time in the NFL, and could do the same in Washington. If the fit is better given the Commander's needs and his skill set at this stage in his career, it might even become his default position. At the very least, Adam Peters and company should take a look at Clowney. Although it's late in the offseason to sign new free agents, not every day does a proven, productive player who fills a significant team need become available. The Panthers have given a gift to a playoff contender, and Washington should seize it. Now I ask you, should we move quickly for Clowney or explore other options? I say this. In a league where quarterback pressure is pure gold, a player like Clowney available in May is an opportunity we can't let slip away. The Commanders are at a historic crossroads. With a franchise quarterback, elite offensive weapons, and a coach who's transformed our culture, every decision now is critical. The addition of Jadeveon Clowney could be that final move that takes us to the next level as our facilities are modernized and our roster continues to strengthen. What do you think? Should Peters make an immediate offer for Clowney? Or do you prefer the option of Key Walker to complement Wagner? Now is the time to make your voice heard. Don't let other fans define the narrative. Join our Commanders community where we analyze every move and celebrate every victory together. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, and be part of this family that's building something special in Washington. And remember, hail to the Redskins.